Hi, how are you? It's Lucia Hawkins of Meraki Farmacy, regenerative organic herb farm and herbal apothecary servicing all of Turtle Island and located in Zone 5, elevation 1,800 feet in Chinclacamoose, central Pennsylvania. Later today, I'm going to be terminating these cover crops, so I figure it's a great time for a farm tour. Yeah, stick around. You're going to learn a lot. Do you know what all great stewards, farmers of any kind, whether it's flower or veg or animals or whatever, you know what we all have in common? We're growing soil. Yes, soil is really important, right? Especially when you're in places that have been historically extracted, whether it's, heavy logging, heavy mining. But these are practices that anyone can use in their containers, in raised beds. A key takeaway right now, never leave your soil bare, especially as climate catastrophe increases everywhere. When our soil is bare, meaning that there's no plants growing in it, we're losing the soil strata and nutrient content. And we know the nutrient content of the soil tells you what the nutrient content of the plants that you're growing, whether you're making medicine and remedies or feeding people or feeding animals. Really, really important stuff, right? So cover crops are one of a great way that we can combat soil compaction, soil erosion. When heavy rains hit bare soil, it washes a lot away. There's a lot of indicators, right? And these are evidence-based practices and also like indigenous knowledge. So what you see here is a lot of rye and crimson clover, also red clover, and pretty much everywhere you see there's going to be violets and plantain, and I leave native perennials like fleabane to feed the pollinators and make bouquets or otherwise. We'll cut it down before it goes to seed. There's dandelions everywhere. Lots of other stuff. Creeping Charlie, of course. So we'll be crimping and or mowing. And in this area, so we'll take down all of this and let all of this nutrients, right, pulled from the soil into these beautiful plants, return to the soil for the next sowing, which will happen in probably 2 weeks. And a lot of these areas, it'll be the warm season stuff. In ground, we're honoring the three sisters, corn, beans, and squash. Yum. We have a raised bed that also has a bunch of rye. Gonna level that. A lot of these raised beds receive the different flowers and herbs that I work with. So you can see we're in various stages of this. So there's cover crops still here. These are already terminated. I'm still debating on moving this raised bed, actually. That's cardboard that came from the fence line. Put in a flower bed around the fence, which is going to be awesome. Currently transplanting. So we have oats. Growing oats to make milky oat tops tincture and have oat straw for tea blends, and also as mulch for the plants. We always have some areas that are in progress. There's in this bed, there's violets and clary sage and fleabane, plantain, yarrow, the first chamomile of the year. Yes, there's broadleaf sage, there's borage. Did I say dandelion? We have mullein mountain. So I'm going to come through here and collect some leaves as this biennial wild plant. There's verbascum thapsus, so there's common mullein, and there's Greek mullein. And you can see that they're getting taller. They're going to send their spire of yellow flowers up this year. A biennial. Their life cycle is 2 years. Annuals is 1 year. Perennials are year after year, like the dandelions, the violets, the plantain, the yarrow, the motherwort, the comfrey. Oh, the dish for water for bugs needs refilling. So this area will absolutely look very different throughout the seasons. The whole place will. Cool. We have another bed of oats. So same thing. Once the oats are done, it'll receive new plantings, either transplants or maybe some cool season herbs and food in August. Carrots and scallions, very slow to come up. We'll re-sow. This is flowering kale. This is a very yummy plant. Encourage you to eat it. We have some calendula popping up. We have some mustard greens. Again, we'll re-sow in here. We have a foxglove, allium, dandelion, valerian, motherwort everywhere. I just cut back this one comfrey and gave it to the chickens. Comfrey looking fine. We got jewelweed, different bulbs, various different levels of succession. When you see this comfrey here and you see how like this one is very straight up and this, it's starting to bend out and be less of a bush and more splayed out, that tells me we're ready to cut it and either make dry it for various topicals or feed it to the chickens, make compost tea, give it back to the earth. Comfrey was my first plant teacher. We love the comfrey. A bed of oats and peas. These are eaten peas, not field peas, and they're growing over the oats. It's in a spiral shape. It's all an experiment. And again, this will receive succession. And this bed here, also cover crops. We'll crimp it down. Some plants that we're looking to transplant soon would be lemon balm, calendula, marigolds, tomatoes, peppers, basils, cilantro, parsley, dill. Who else is growing inside? We have ashwagandha. There's too many for me to think of right now to tell you, but you'll have to come back in a month or two when I do another tour. This is all greens. There's different braising greens. There's radishes. There's a lot of borage in here that borages can readily self-sow. So once you have borage somewhere, you can have it year after year if you know what it looks like and you don't think of everything as weeds. Radishes, of course. The first radishes already went to the dogs. And of course, this is very dense, so thinning chicken food, human food, and the line of peas. So this will also be in transition as the season gets warmer. More comfrey. I didn't plant these. They planted themselves. There's someone who lived here prior planted oregano, and it has moved from tree line to tree line. I do leave this patch because I think it's so cool. And in this patch is a spider village. Cool. More motherwort. More valerian, which is really cool because there was one valerian plant here the first year I got here. Meraki Farmacy has been around since 2015. Came to this site in the summer of 22. And so now there's quite a few valerians all around, which is not a plant that I have really worked with. So I feel like there is a beautiful invitation to get to know valerian in a deep, intimate way by just observing for a while. Stonecrop looking dope. Different alliums, hyssops, again, the fleabane, larkspur, wallflower, catnip. Check out this broadleaf sage. There's so many different sages, and unless white sage is a sacred plant to you and your people, you have lots of other sages that you can work with ceremoniously without being extractive, exploitative, appropriative, or violent. Alfalfa. So now we're at the spiral, right? And looks like there's some valerian in here. Again, we have different clovers. There's violets, there's plantains. But this alfalfa is going to get crimped down. Continuing to move through the spiral, which in previous years was Three Sisters and tobacco and zinnias. We have some Monarda. We have this one columbine, which I'm so thrilled about. Wow. Yeah. Hopefully she'll have enough room. There's more motherwort. There's motherwort kind of everywhere. Comfrey, yarrow, more alfalfa, yarrow, violets, another hyssop. In here is where I already terminated the alfalfa, and I see a Joe Pye weed. And I cleared this because of the orientation to the sun. This place is not like ideal conditions for herb farming or any kind of farming, but we're doing it. See, here is blue vervain, a blue vervain patch. So I grew these from seed 3 years ago. and want to encourage them making a nice little grove for themselves. We love blue vervain. I don't talk about plants in a way of what they can do for us. I don't provide like materia medica in videos. You can visit merakifarmacy.com and schedule all sorts of different appointments with me. Tea times, experiential learning. But my primary mission is to steward and repair and mend through Mother Earth, through caring for her and learning from her and giving these plants the time, energy, respect, reciprocity that they really, truly, deeply deserve, and connect folks to the various ways that we can be with plants, not just for our physical health, but our mental, emotional, energetic, and spiritual health. More blue vervain. This is the mother dandelion. I like to have a mother plant of each plant that is my teacher and that I work with, that I don't take from. And they just get to exist. And this dandelion is just like very big. I don't know if the video really does it justice. But there's clary sage. Again, more fleabane. There's asters in here too. Garlics. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. So this is what the farm looks like in spring, which is actually, I think, the dopest it's looked in spring. And that's because of these cover crops. So again, everywhere you see the cover crops, that section all through there, we're building up the soil because it's heavy soil, it's clay, it's compacted, it hasn't had life in it, and so it hasn't had death. So it's not... We're building the soil so that we can build up the humus and the organic matter. And we'll always do cover crops because it's also really delightful to have this much life around, especially in these more northern climates and zones where like we're not getting flowers until July, right? And again, those reasons that I stated in the very beginning about how bare soil, it's just like a silly thing to have around. Fixed the fence and extended the area out. So had cardboard sheeting to kill off the grass and just some fabric to keep it all in. And this will be sown with different clovers. I'm going to put a tithonia right here, but I think I'm going to put in these chives, and there's rutabacia and more hyssop and mullein, and fill in some of these spots, and then add a lot of annuals of different heights and colors and textures, because that's all really interesting and beautiful and continual food and interest. Put in this little spot over here. Cut back. Oh, there's a chipmunk. Hey, buddy. Cut back this autumn olive, which will give more options for this little bed area later. Notes on climate change. This lilac grove right here looks awesome. Did not even pretend to begin to make any flowers this year. And again, this is just on site because a mile in either direction I've seen lilacs bloom. So remembering that where we are in place and space is really important, and what I do here is not the one answer for everyone everywhere, just like how there's not one plant for everyone everywhere for all time. There's great complexity and nuance, and I am not here to reduce it or flatten it. There's phacelia, there's more hyssop, there's bee balm, there's garlic, there's these beautiful bulbs, yarrow. This hawthorn tree, who we love hawthorn so much, did flower, but due to climate change and persistent cold, heavy rains, high winds, no sun, the flowers were out for maybe 2 or 3 days and then gone. And so I am unable to work with hawthorn this year, which is a bummer, a big bummer actually. Let's go on over here to a wild section. So, sorry. You're going to see this lilac is blooming and smells divine. It's not a native lilac, but we're loving it. There's some calendula coming up in here. Motherwort everywhere, grass everywhere. Skullcap. We love the skullcap. lemon balm transplanted from the rocks, more comfrey. Ajuga, asters, goldenrods, jewelweed, daisies, hibiscus. We'll see if the deer eat it this year. And a lot of other wild things going on over here. This is the field cover crop area, and you can see that it clearly looks much different than over in the like main garden area due to the slope, due to the thinner, much thinner, rockier soil. It gets very different sun, but we see the crimson clover, the vetch. There's some violets, which is so beautiful. I think I see a Dame's rocket over there. So we'll just continue to experiment and monitor, and this area trying to rejuvenate for no other reason than to rejuvenate it and provide food and habitat for pollinators and bugs and critters that we do depend on. But the crimson clover, big fan. Big fan. So there's like the occasional rye stand, you see? So this was a whole mix of different cover crop seeds. So this just tells me about timing and sowing, and yeah, we'll continue to experiment. I feel like it doesn't seem like much, but it is so much. If you want to see a whole list of plants that are grown here, you can see that in a recent post, but on MerakiPharmacy.com, there's tremendous amounts of information. There's, you know, the links, and there's the link tree, and that takes you everywhere. All the different socials, newsletter, event schedule, my CV. There's a page on MerakiPharmacy.com, Meet Lou and the Plants. And it's my whole work history. I encourage you to look at that. I encourage you to send that to people. I provide a number of services, and I'm completely dependent on community engagement and support. Everything is grown here, made here. There's no plastic, there's no parabens, there's no preservatives, there's no fragrance oils. It's whole plant infusions for whole bodies, because we are also an ecosystem. I'm going to leave it at that for now. Thanks for your time. Make sure you come back regularly, early and often, to see the different successions throughout time. I'll leave you with this. Leila Fangali defines herbalism as land-centered therapies resulting from deep intimacy across generations. Let's grow together.